I just had my second ever vendor event and I just want to have a little chat about it. If you're new here, my name is Festina. I am a sewist. I do all sorts of sewing crafts. I use primarily fabric scraps, patchwork style, thrifted materials, secondhand materials, remnant materials, all of those things like that. And I just had my second ever vendor event. And I just wanted to go over some of the things that I observed, some of the things that I've learned, and some of the things that I would like to change moving forward. The first craft event that I had that was in person, it was like a pop-up kind of thing. So it was in a parking lot. I had a tent, things like that. And, I met some people. It was a fun time, but it was very, very slow. There was another major event that was happening in the area where I live. I live in a very small town, Alabama. Like, there'll be a whole bunch of events happening in one day. I don't know if they plan for it to be that way, but just within a 20-mile radius, there'll just be all of these things going on at once. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that works. The first in-person event that I had, I did make a couple of sales here and there, mainly from people that I know. So very, very thankful for them to come see me. And, at that time I was like, okay, I'll just see about maybe doing another one in a few weeks, give me some different types of inventory to do, things like that. So come today, and today, a few weeks later, I had been making a couple of new items. I made these corner fabric bookmarks. I still have everything that's packed up, so I have not unpacked anything yet. Just trying to decompress from having to have my face on all day. But yeah, I went into this event very hopeful, very positive. I was like, okay, I'm going to make these bookmarks. I'm going to make some tote bags. I'm going to make some other things. I have a broad range of pricing on my items. My fabric bookmarks are actually my lowest price item. Those are priced at $5 because they don't take very long to do. It goes all the way up to $150, which is what I do charge for my hoodies. One of the things I'm known for on TikTok, per se, is my thrifted hoodies. What I do is I will take thrifted, secondhand. Some of the hoodies that I've used have actually been from my closet. But I take those items and I cut them up and I do color blocked hoodies. Going into this event, I was very hopeful, very ambitious would be the correct word to say. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go into this, and if I at least get my booth feedback, then I'll be happy. And also another thing, first event was a free event. It was pop up, so you could just come, first serve into the parking lot, pitch your tent, and go for it. On the second one, it was actually, paying for a booth. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go for it. And like I said, if I get my booth feedback, I'll be happy. First off, the venue. Okay, so venue, it was actually in a gymnasium for a church school thing, something like that. I was told that what's that, an eyelash? I was told that it was going to be hot in there. It didn't end up really being hot per se, mainly because there weren't that many people there anyway. But yeah, so the venue was a gym, and I had a spot that was kind of in the middle, but it wasn't a big area, but it was kind of in the middle, and it was facing away from the door. So there was the door, there was the main thoroughfare, I guess you'd say. There was the main area, and then there were side areas, and then there were booths around the perimeter that you could pay extra to get power. Since this was my first time doing this event, I decided not to do power. I did have a couple of ideas that I was going to use an iPad or something to have my YouTube videos playing, but I decided against that. I just went wherever I was given as an option, and it's one of those things to where I really do think that it matters the position where you're at in the venue, or if it's an outdoor place, it kind of matters where your booth is positioned to where, you know, where the traffic is going to be. And I did actually get to be good buddies with the booth person beside me. She was very nice. She said that this was her second ever event as well. So that was fun to be able to connect and kind of bounce some ideas and things off of her. But yeah, so we both, you know, were just talking about how the positioning was just so, it really just made a difference on, because we could see the people like behind us they just seemed to get a lot more traction than we did. And one of the people actually had a product that was similar to what my booth person was selling. So it was like, okay. But anyway, we all were able to set up the night before. So I went, me and my partner, we set up on Friday night. So I was able to come in this morning and just do like finishing touches. So that was really cool. So the event was supposed to be held from 8 o'clock this morning to 5 o'clock this afternoon. And just as a little indicator of how it went, I was home and back by like 3:30. So you can kind of use that as an indicator on how things went. It was a very, very, very slow traffic event. And now, to be fair, this is something that is pretty new to the area, but the amount of effort that was put into Facebook marketing for the event, I just thought that there would be more foot traffic. And I was highly mistaken by that. And that's something that I'm going to look out for, or try to look out for in the future, but we'll get to the things that I've learned from this. This is just kind of setting up the scenario and setting up how things went. So with me having a range of items, the first event that I had, I took basically every hoodie and skirt. I also do patchwork skirts. That's my second highest ticket item. I do tote bags, and I do zipper pouches, and I do just, you know, just random crafts depending on the amount of fabric that I have. So for this event, since I didn't really have much success with my hoodies and my skirts, I was like, oh, I'm just going to take a few. So I took like 4 or 5 of the higher ticket items, and I took more of the lower ticket items, because that's one of the tips that that I noticed on YouTube University when I was looking up tips and tricks. But one of the things that I did notice is that my bookmarks definitely sold the best. My lowest ticket items sold the best. And, you know, that's one of those things where I kind of expected that. But I don't know. I thought the tote bags would do better because I had such a variety. They definitely drew interest, but nobody actually purchased one, which again is fine. I'm still gonna probably continue making them because I think they're fun, but yeah, that was something that I was prepared for. And it also means that I can make more for the next show that I do. If I do another show, I'll probably do another show. But the things that I learned from this event, I learned to make sure to see what other events are going on in the area. I may actually have to travel to other places, like do a little bit. I'm not gonna go like hours away from where I'm at because I don't know if it's exactly be worth it. But, you know, there's a certain radius that I'll go to try other events. But one thing that I am going to make sure that I check on is the number of events that are going on and try to hone in on which one would be a best fit for my type of craft. I really do think that was one of the things that was against me, was because the event was marketed a certain way for not like handmade craft items. It was more kind of like a flea market type thing. It wasn't like a craft market or like a handmade vendor event or something like that. So I really think that that made a difference on the type of clientele that came through. The number two thing that I'm going to make sure to look out for is to have more lower ticket items. And that's something that I'm probably going to have to do a little research on. Leave me a comment below if there are certain like fabric crafts that are lower ticket that you may gravitate towards when you go to craft markets. I know I've thought about scrunchies, and I actually had somebody mention like pet bandanas, and I've had somebody mention like dog bandanas to me before, but I never did make any. I don't really know why. I probably got distracted by something else. But yeah, so I kind of want to revisit the pet bandanas and see if maybe I can figure out, because it can't, one, it can't be difficult, and two, it can't take that much fabric. So, and people love their pets. They really love their pets. Somebody at my last market mentioned something about dogs and having like dog themed items. So I need to like get into that. Also, holiday items. I am not huge on the holidays. I'm just not. And the thing about it is that everybody else is. And I know that I don't have to necessarily like, I have to basically market. I've got to do things that people are going to want. I mean, that's what selling items is, right? You got to go to where the demand is. And there were so many booths there that were just decked out in Christmas. The only thing that I had Christmas themed in my booth was one set of coasters that I made like, I don't know, I made these coasters like 2 years ago. And yeah, I've just still had them in my shop. But yeah, there was definitely interest on the coasters, and there was interest on the tote bags, and there was a lot of people that looked at things and they were like, oh, that's cute, or oh, that's this. And I was like, why don't you take it home? But I didn't. I'm not pushy. I'm not the one that's gonna hover. I'd say my pleasantries and then I back off and let them do their thing. I'm definitely going to have some lower ticket items the next time that I do a show. I think that will entice people to come into the booth. I did have my lower ticket items up front, so then it kind of gravitated as you came. I have the U shape. The U shape is kind of how I had mine set up. So I had the fabric bookmarks near the end, and it's like, oh, these are $5, and then I trickle in the $15 canvases, and then the $20 this and things like that, and then my larger canvases that are like $40 and things like that. So I did have, like I said, a lot of people were interested in things, but yeah, so that is definitely one thing that I want to improve on, and one thing that I want to change next time. Also, another thing that I feel like is probably going to be the biggest thing that I'm going to benefit from with doing these shows is networking. Because, like I said, the lady that was beside me in the booth, very nice. We had a great rapport. We were talking about different events and things like that. She was like, yeah, we should team up and figure out where we can get some different events that are more catered to handcrafted items. And I thought, cool. I thought that was really, really neat. And also, there was another vendor that was very, very interested in the type of patchwork and things that I do. She immediately, so every event that I've done, or the 2 events that I've done, I've taken my hexagon quilt. If you don't know about my hexi quilt, I will insert a photo of it here, and you can kind of see this is a labor of love. It took me like almost a year on and off to get this thing done, but I have had people think about giving me an offer on that at both events. And this lady came up, she had a booth over like in the corner, and she was like, I bet there's not an amount that I can give you for that. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. This took me forever to do. And she was like, people just don't appreciate quilting as a craft. She was like, this is beautiful. I know a lot of work went into it. And she is right. a lot of work went into it. So I was like, I don't know if I can give it up. But that is something that at my first event, I had it hanging up because it was an outdoor event and there was a tent, and I could easily kind of just put it up with some zip ties. And at this event, I did not bring the tent inside because I didn't want to fiddle with it, and it was an indoor event. But I definitely want to figure out some way of hanging it up next time, because it definitely attracts a crowd whenever I have it, because it's a sight to see. And I think that people that know what goes into sewing, that they can appreciate it and see all the detail that went into it. I had so many people that the last minute they come up and they just touch it. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, this is great. So that's something that I think can draw people in to where they can come and see what else that I have to offer. And one more thing too that I thought was pretty neat is the whole bartering system. The lady that was inquiring about the hexagon quilt, and she came over and she actually wanted to buy something that I didn't necessarily think that I was gonna sell. I made these hexagon mug rugs like years ago when I first started my Etsy, and I've had like 2 or 3 sets like still left from then, and I like to just have them laying around just as like, oh, this is something that I've done. Well, I had one, like this one-off one that I did, and it was laying on the corner, and she comes up, she's like, oh, this is beautiful. And she was like, how much is this? And I was like, I really hadn't even thought about selling that. And she was like, oh, well, you should come over and see what's in my booth. So at some point I went over there, and she had a lot of like delicate linens and things like that. And I was like, oh, well, this is neat. And this is neat. And she was like, oh, well, here you go. You spent $5. So blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. So the bartering system is pretty cool. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like a lost trade that people don't really do. But I'm like, I'm down. I've just never had any opportunity to really do that with anybody. So that kind of goes along with the networking. But yeah, those are just some of the things that I've learned from my second market. I do plan to do more. Now I've got people that are recognizing me at shows, and I'm like, yeah, I could just take that as other, kind of networking opportunities. So, but yeah, so those are some of the things, some of the tips, some of the tricks that I've experienced. Leave me a comment below if there are other tips and tricks that you've learned. And yeah, I appreciate you getting through this far in the video. And so thank you for watching.